Hello, everyone. I'm Ernie Emad, and today I'm giving you the scoop on a brewery in the heart of Coral Gables, pouring lager as gold as the coast down under. I'm talking about Bay 13, located on Alhambra Plaza, owned and operated by Nick and Theresa Sharp. Bay 13 Brewery. Now, how did that come about?
So back in my old days as an accountant back in Australia, I worked at KPMG and developed a friendship, that we've had for years. So one of my best friends from Australia, I went in my direction and he ended up going into his family business, which in Australia was the beer industry. His father was a beer ingredient trader and importer and distributor, which started with homebrew kits, 30 odd years ago, which then grew into craft beer, which now is just beer. They distribute everywhere. And about the same time we opened Threefold Cafe, they opened a brew pub in Canberra in Australia. And with their business, they were always in the US, 2-3 times a year, sourcing product and whatnot, and would always come down to Miami and see us. And we just got talking about it one day. I was standing in the window of Threefold looking out at the Church of Scientology building, which had just changed hands and they were moving out. And I'm like, that'd be a great place for a brewery. And we just started talking about it and it just kind of went from there, and then from that it went into an actual business plan. And then, we looked at a bunch of spaces and we didn't end up doing it in the old Scientology building, the original Coral Gables post office. Right. We did it at 65 Alhambra Plaza, just around the corner. And that's really how Bay 13 was the idea came up, and then we ended up doing it. In sporting stadiums in Australia, in the US they're called sections. Okay. In Australia they used to be called bays. And so the Melbourne Cricket Ground has bays, and Bay 13 was a famous section of the stadium where predominantly young guys, would go and drink beer all day and watch cricket, and really, really fun, particularly during like the 80s and early 90s. And so like with a lot of our places, we like having names that are not so unique and obscure that people don't have any affiliation with it. So, someone's son, people don't need to know the song to, interpret a meaning. With Bay 13, it's the same. People assume a meaning, but anyone from Melbourne that walks in will know exactly what that is.
Here we met Greg, the master brewer from Arkansas, right? A great guy. We had our own little education the day we were there. But tell us a little bit about the beer concept.
Yeah, so beer decision-making is pretty much all with Greg. So we hired him down to produce really good beer that he likes. So that's the same as what we do with food and wine and everything else. It's stuff we like. So he has free reign there. We did ship him off to Australia for a couple of weeks. He went to Sydney, Canberra and Melbourne and toured a lot of the really fantastic venues that are in those cities. The standard of the venues is really quite elevated. So we got to see that.
And of course, beer tasting, right?
And he tasted lots of beer. He tasted a lot of beer.
You usually have how many on tap?
So it'll vary. We can do up to 21 on tap. So we can go as many as 21. At the moment we have 9. I think our sweet spot will be somewhere between sort of 10 and 16. Okay. Is where we'll probably sit, which gives us enough to keep the beer turning over and really fresh, which is what we want. We'll probably have somewhere 10 to 16 beers most of the time.
There's definitely been extra measures and things taken in this COVID sort of state, but it's not uncommon for restaurants maintain a high sanitation anyway.
Yeah, if you're going to give up 40%, you might as well give it to the server, right? There's no question than to give it to some unknown platform.
If you want to come in and drink $1,000 bottle of wine, you can. If you want to come in and spend $20, you can do that also. And it's really, the long-term vision of Bay 13 is that it's a social place where people can come and meet other people, talk to people, spend time with friends, get off cell phones, and just experience company with people.
In any budget, and that's really wonderful. Buy local, think local, support local, and when you're in Coral Gables, definitely stop by Bay 13. It's the latest venture. It is beautiful, and we're going to be able to see that as well. That'll do it for another episode with a great place for you to consider on your next night out. I'm your host, Ernie Emad, reminding you to follow, share, and support our local business. And starting next week, look for our Latin-flavored podcast called Sobre Miami on Instagram TV that features Everything con sabor latino.